All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making the headlines on the front page of the newspapers. And we will begin with the Nation newspaper. And the major story here says food security. Stakeholders back emergency declaration. IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund, lauds Tinubu on petrol subsidy removal palliatives. And another story here, Inibehe facing gun ammunition possession charges. Sources are saying this. Lagos court to pick judge for case next week. Another court voids suspended CBN governor's arrest. Now, 2 pilots survive as NAF trainer aircraft crashes in Makurdi. Air Force commences probe of crash. CBN revises tenure limit for bank executives to 12 years. Cumulative tenure limit for directors now 24 years. Interesting. Now, DISCOs move to increase electricity tariff. NERC, that's the Regulatory Commission for Electricity, to conduct public hearing on rates. Kogi Guba, Court of Appeal declines bail for suspects linked to SDP candidate. PEPC to deliver judgment same day on Atiku Obi APM election petition. That's the Presidential Election Petitions Court. Reserves decision on suit seeking Tinubu Shetima's sack. Who has what story on the Nation here?
Yeah, I have a story there. And the headline says, Lagos School where fees are paid with empty plastic bottles. Parents' inability to pay 6,000 naira school fee gave rise to the idea, says the proprietor of the school. And the indigent kids attending the school said it has helped us to keep our dreams alive and staying away from crime. So this school is in Ajegunle, and most of the parents in that vicinity cannot afford to pay school fees for their children. And, Ajegunle is known for boys that are notorious. They're always looking for a way to make ends meet just because of the situation of things in that environment. And this proprietor decided to be creative to say, okay, if these parents do not have money to pay, we can actually get creative and they can pick plastic bottles that can be recycled, and then they can generate money from there to pay their school fees. And this just goes to show how resilient Nigerians can be. No matter the situation, Nigerians always have a way, to get things done. And these kids are appreciative of this effort to say that it has kept them away from crime. It has, helped them to, keep their hopes alive. And I just want to say kudos to that proprietor. And this is also helping us to, in line with what you said about environmental protection, getting these plastic bottles away from drainages will also help us to ensure that we keep the environment safe.
All right.
So it's killing, is it 2 birds with
one stone?
Exactly.
Okay, so I have this story still on the front page of the Nation newspaper talking about food security. Stakeholders backing emergency declaration by the president. Over the week, the president declared a state of emergency with regards to food security. Recall that last year we had flooding, and some of the farmlands were, swept away by the floods, and that affected our food security. And a lot of persons have been speaking with regards to that and how to ensure that we have food security for the growing population. And so the president declared a state of emergency, and that included that the initiative entails, among other things, according to the statement that came out, special purpose vehicles, especially the commodity board, to liberalize the food production value chain and the immediate activation of land banks across the country. And so a lot of persons are coming out to support this move by the president to declare a state of emergency and also bring some level of support to those who are playing in that sector. And so IMF is also lauding the fact that the president came out with some palliatives. Recall that a lot of persons have looked at the calculation, 8,000 naira for 6 months, and the IMF is lauding the president's efforts to that fact that there is a palliative to cushion the effect on the fuel subsidy removal. Any other story here?
Nisha, no.
No, no. All right, we move now to the Saturday Punch. Labour experts fault Tinubu's 8,000 naira transfer to poor families. NLC, TUC, NUBIFE say past schemes didn't benefit Nigerians. Katsina, Ogun, Abia, Kwara, Ondo, others await federal government's decision on palliatives. Another story here says, I'm helping to build mosque in Ilorin. Ishese advocate speaking. How boat passengers perish in rivers of death. That's a very pathetic story there. Another one here, UK hikes visa fees for Nigerians, others. Police sent me to 44-day jail over dog, Lagos hairstylist speaking. And sad reality of Nigerian entertainers beyond glamour. That's the story. Who has what story here?
I have a story on page...
page 24?
24.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking about police sent me to 44-day jail over dog.
Very funny.
So it happened that this lady was just walking on the road, and the next thing she sees a dog with a woman and a child. And so she just chases the dog away, saying... A neighbor, yes, move, move, and all that. And the woman started saying, why would you speak to my dog like that? Why would you attack my dog and all that? Like play, like that was what happened. And so she went about her normal daily activities, and in the evening she went for a party, and then they were like, policemen were looking for her. She was like, what did she do? You know, and when she got to the station, she found out that this, her neighbor, Madam Ezine, had reported her to the police station.
For speaking to a dog.
A dog, actually. And so that was how she spent 44 days.
That's not funny.
In the cell.
It seems like there's something missing in the story.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I think there's something missing
Because
in that
according to the because I think
yeah,
I saw
you saw the story too, yeah.
The woman, that is the Mrs. Ezine, claimed that the lady poured sand on her dog. So there are some people that do not joke with their pets.
Yeah.
They don't joke with their pets. If you recall the Hilda Bassi story where, you know, they had like a dog dish and then there was a dog president. In fact, that was the first time I even knew that there was an association of dog owners.
Oh, yeah, there is.
And then they have a president who came out to say no, to defend the rights of, you know, dogs. Animals, animals also have rights.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
So some of these pet owners, I'm not a...
But I think that's an extreme case.
Yes, 44 days, and she's an
spending 44 days because you claim she poured sand on the dog. What happened to did the dog die?
The dog's eyes, or maybe the dog could not sniff again properly. You know, we need to ask.
And you know that there were court proceedings.
Yes,
there were court proceedings. At some point, people now found out that what was the issue exactly, and then, you know, they had to now pick up this Madam Ezine. Next thing, she says she's not going to go for the court proceedings. She wasn't going to report to anybody.
Because there is no case.
Yes, it was. I mean, the person who called them.
Yes, because there is no case.
And it is important for landlords to actually
note.
Quite pathetic. You know, it is important for landlords to actually note, you know, clearly that pets are not allowed within a particular compound, because there are some people who like pets, some do not like pets.
And then in some estates in Nigeria.
Exactly. So there should be that clear rule to say that pets are not allowed here.
Yes.
So if anything happens to that pet, it is within your, it is your headache. It is your thing to worry about. You should not have to prosecute others.
I think she took it to an extreme, and it's just unfortunate that the lady in question did not have someone to defend her at the time, because if she had, she wouldn't have spent 44 days in detention, and something could have been done with regards to the Madam Ezine herself.
So that wouldn't have happened.
It was even
but is it in the case that the dog attacked her?
No, well, I don't know, but let's be,
I wonder
because of
how
time,
it
we need
was.
to quickly
Thank
go
you.
to another story. And I have one story inside the Punch newspaper talking about the use of nitrous oxide, talking about laughing gas, which has become another issue in the country. And now Drug Law Enforcement Agency has gone ahead to clamp down on those who are selling this nitrous oxide illegally. It's meant for medical use.
Yes.
For when you're having a surgical operation for teeth, whatever it is, that's what is used to deaden the area. But then we see that people, in trying to feel high and all of that, they are taking these things, they put it in balloons, and then they sniff it, and that's it. Now, the effect on the body, yes, you are trying to enjoy yourself temporarily for a while, but then the effect is long-lasting.
I think that's a knowledge problem. People do not know.
Some people do not
Same way they
care.
abuse substances.
They constantly-
A lot of
constantly-
people abuse substances.
They do.
No, sometimes no.
Yeah.
But because they are looking for temporary solutions to issues.
they are
So
going
they
through.
seem fine.
Yes.
Wow.
A temporary solution is temporary. But the damage is long-lasting. That's what they do not understand,
So everybody should know.
unfortunately. So the NDLEA has gone ahead to clamp down on the users, on those who are selling. But there are those who are also calling for the fact that the NDLEA needs to work in collaboration with some of these celebrities
Exactly.
in the industry who glorify the use of some of these things
Substances, absolutely.
on their pages. So how they would do that is another
I
story
think they should
entirely.
declare drug use amongst Nigerian youths a national pandemic,
Right.
because it's really eating deep into
The fabric of the society, unfortunately.
Yes. And then you wonder, and then the way both men and women use it these days, unlike before, you would think, oh,
alarming.
women are very reserved, but
You'll be
now they're the
shocked.
ones championing these drug
Be
use.
shocked. We need to quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the pages of the papers. Just stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking through the newspaper headlines, and this time we're going to the Saturday Sun. The major story here says senators, reps to spend 40 billion naira on SUVs. Akpabio, Abbas, Barrow, Benjamin Kalu to get bulletproof vehicles. Now, another story says illegal gold miners pollute Osun-Osogbo, Oyo, Ogun rivers with deadly chemicals. Contamination threatens UNESCO site, poses health hazards to Osun-Osogbo devotees, millions of others. Court of Appeal refuses bail applications of suspects linked to Kogi SDP Guba candidate. Ibadan. EFCC arrests ex-cybercrime convict, 54 others in major bust. 80 suspected cultists arrested in 4 months in Lagos. Amnesty for Boko Haram bandits. Northern groups gives Tinubu 2-week ultimatum. How federal government can tackle renewed killings in North. NEF, MBF, NAF trainer aircraft crashes in Makadi. Now, Southeast lost 4 trillion naira to sit at home in 2 years. Benjamin Kalu, Deputy Speaker, House of Rep, is saying this. NDLEA intercepts 64,863 kilograms laughing gas consignment at Lagos Port, Imo. Who has what story here?
Okay, I have a story on page 11.
Yeah.
And the story goes on to say that private car owners ditch vehicles, embrace public transportation, and keke. And so it was an interview of various people across River State, Enugu State, and Lagos State. And this person was lamenting that normally he would fill his tank with 13,000 naira, but currently 30,000 naira cannot fill his vehicle, so he had to drop it and then go on.
That's over 100% increase. Yeah.
And, you know, another person was lamenting about the fact that they run on gen, the light is not constant, and in a day they'll probably spend like 2,500 naira on electricity, basically. And I know I've also had that situation too, whereby sometimes I would wonder and say, what's the way forward? Because there's no increase in salaries and, you know, all of that. So how are you ladies coping, really, on this?
God's grace.
God's
grace is sufficient.
You know, Nigerians have a way. They'll always find a way, like we said earlier. So you think outside the box, as
Or
it is.
destroy the box.
The box does not
How
go
do we
exist.
destroy the box in this situation?
Well, I feel we just have to be creative and
Yes.
also slam
Where you feel you need
Yeah.
to drive, because sometimes using some of these means is more expensive.
More stressful.
And stressful. So you think, you calculate, okay, if I'm going somewhere, is it better for me to drive or to take public transportation? That is what you have to do at this point. Then you calculate. It's more about strategizing.
I think it's even still cheaper for me to drive. Or right now, you have to be 1,001% important to me before I get into that car. So,
Yes, wherever
so
you're
right
going
now, it's not
very
important,
important.
it's not urgent, it's not necessary, it can wait.
Yes,
Go
that's
on
it.
Zoom.
There's some meetings that shouldn't be physical, it should just be Zoom, even a
Right.
text. Who waste my time?
Okay, so I have the story on the Southeast losing 4 trillion naira to sit at home in 2 years. Now, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's Benjamin Kalu, was talking about this. You know, for me, it's about the fact that 4 trillion naira has been lost. At a critical time like this, where a lot of persons are looking for how to make monies, how to improve on their businesses, sit at home, it's been enforced. Yes, they have an agitation, but then forcing people to stay at home, their livelihood, you're trying to agitate for something you say is for the best interest of these people, yet you are forcing them to sit at home. How can they thrive? How can businesses improve? So what are you doing at the end of the day? Is it in their best interest or to their detriment? 4 trillion naira is a huge sum. 2 years, we know how that could have transformed lives. Now, this is aside the lives that have been lost.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's a sad one. Do you have any other story here? Or you wanted to talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to, react to that story because at this point, I think the Constitution should be amended and there should be an inclusion of a referendum if a particular region wants to stay on their own. Because at this point...
I think we have passed that point.
I think so too.
We have
I think
passed
so
that
too.
point.
Are you sure? Because I think we should choose the lives of people being lost over this...
See, there are different ways to agitate, right? You do not have to take lives. You do not have to destroy property because it's difficult to build.
These people know. They know that it is a very wicked thing. Yes, harsh method. Hard
Approach
measure.
is harsh.
Exactly, but they're still doing it.
No, but
So
are
at the
they
end of the
doing
day,
it? Are they
what are
doing
we
it?
talking about?
The people who they are doing it for, did they give consent?
Because if you ask some of these people, like people from this region, some of them are not even for this agitation.
That's what we are
People
saying.
are fighting
Yeah.
for.
We are saying
that
the
we
same
don't want
thing.
to go.
We're saying the same thing. So
In
it's not
different
about
ways.
the inclusion.
It's
I think
beyond,
it's beyond
that's the
why-
interest
that's why we
of
need
a
that
little
referendum,
collective
so that it can
out
be-
of a majority.
That's why we need that referendum, so that it can be clear, because we are just assuming now. We don't have the raw facts and numbers to say that, okay, this amount of people, this percentage of people over these ones want to go or want to stay. So that referendum will give us a clear picture. If they want to go, they should go. Yeah, I don't think it would. I don't think this that region staying on their own would affect the...
You are thinking.
I don't think so, because I don't know what the region brings to the table. I don't know what they bring to the table at this point. So if they feel that they can stand on their own, yes, they should stand on their own.
To say something.
So
I feel they should have a
Because
better
it's
way of
tiring.
expressing their agitation.
That's what I believe.
There's a problem with this approach, and I'm now asking myself how many other regions will come up with some kind of threat to say, if you don't do this, we won't do that. We wouldn't have a unified nation.
Yes.
This referendum might not be the solution now. I agree to
solution.
that we have gone past
that.
Yes, so we need them to reason.
Okay. Yeah, because of time. Let us move to the next paper.
Unfortunately, time is up.
I don't wanted to take this story.
Time is up. She was doing Solidarity Forever. So
I was looking forward to the review of the Vanguard papers.
what story is that?
The Shoyinka story.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. So it says Shoyinka at 89, spending time with young writers. Yeah. So a couple of people went to see him, and then they had this interview. And he shared how he became a good writer. So he's known as a playwright. And for him, it's beyond just learning to write. And something very interesting I picked from the stories, he has advised parents to learn to tell stories as against just having their children read. So everybody should create time to tell their children stories. And we should start to look for ways of building word vocabs in the house. Every time you see a word that is unfriendly, a word that you just sounds ambiguous, look for the meaning, do a role play in the house with that word. So he's saying it's not about exposing, writing about your culture, being popular, being famous. It has a lot to do with each individual becoming a word guru. Yeah.
And that's a fine
Happy birthday to him.
Newspaper headlines, happy birthday to him. There's no one who would not say they know Kongi, as he is called. Kongi.
Yeah, Kongi.
Happy birthday to him.
Thank you, Baba. Happy birthday to you, sir.
All right.